Good evening, viewers, and welcome to today's presentation. My name is Paul, and today is June the 2nd, 2024. Welcome to my presentation again titled Migrating to the US, Useful Tips. And today I would very briefly like to share why it looks on the face of it that the American non-immigrant visas tend to be very difficult and very tough. And so the reason is that most of the non-immigrant visas, like the B1, the B2, the F1, the R, and other classifications of non-immigrant visas, the reason is because these visas are classified in most cases as dual intent visas. The reason is because the dual intent non-immigrant visas are such that a prospective visitor is allowed under the rules to change or migrate from one visa category to another without leaving the country. Yes, in other words, if you're on a visiting visa like B1 or B2 and you come into the US, the law allows you to move from that visa category to a different visa category without leaving the country. What that means is that if you have a B1 or B2 visa or F1 visa, the student visa, now you can, while you are still in the US, change that visa category and move to a permanent residency or a work permit. Let's say you are on a B1 and you come into the country. The law allows you to find a job, to attend an interview, okay? But then before you can assume your new role, your employers must be able to reach out to the USCIS, in other United States Citizenship and Immigration Service, and be able to make an application, a simple application for you to be allowed to move from your visa category, the visiting visa category, to a work permit or to a green card without you having to leave the country. Now, this is very unique in the sense that it makes the US quite open, quite friendly. It also makes the US immigration system very friendly in the sense that it's quite accommodating. Unlike most other parts of the world, like Europe, it's not easy for you to move from your visiting visa category to a more permanent one. I lived in Europe for a very long time. It's very difficult for you. Let us say in the US, if you find a spouse or if you find a friend, you want to get married to a lady, or a lady you want to get married to a guy, and you are on a visiting visa, the rule in the US allows you to conduct that marriage without having to leave the country. It's difficult in Europe for you to do that, or in other parts of the world. They will most of the time limit you to exactly what the conditions of your visa says. But the dual intent visas, when you see a visiting visa sticker on your passport, now it doesn't say double intent. You can't see it with your physical eyes, but rather it's embedded in it, because you will get to only know that if you have studied the legal procedures or immigration procedures here, especially if you've gone through some training through the either law school or college or something. That's the only when you become aware of that intent, dual intent purposes. And so what this means is that as a student studying in the US, the law allows you to move from your student visa category to a different category without leaving the country. If you're on B1, B2, the law allows you to move from that visa category to a different category without leaving the US. If you are on R visa, you are allowed to move from that R category to a different category without leaving the US. You see, the idea is such that it makes the US very open and very accommodating. And so that means that the reason why most visa officers treat a prospective visitor in certain ways is that they don't see any difference between a prospective visitor and someone who is applying for maybe a work permit or an immigrant visa. They are treated the same. Therefore, an average visa officer looks at a prospective visitor as a potential immigrant. That's the point. So, which is why the visa process is tough, because they want to know you're genuine. They want to know you have the capacity to pay. They also want to know that you will return back to your country. But in certain circumstances, when you have obtained a visiting visa and you have come to the US, and for whatever reason you run into a girl, you want to get married to her, the law allows you to conduct that marriage without having to leave the country. So also, if you're on B2 or R or other classifications of non-immigrant visas. And so that is the main reason why the American visa system seems to be very tough, because they want to only allow genuine travelers, genuine visitors to come into the country. And sometimes during the interview process, you see that the visa officer will begin to ask you what you do for a living, the kind of work you do, whether you have families back in your country, and so many other stuff. To you, it might look funny, but they have reasons to want to know the kind of skills you have. In the event that you decide to stay back for whatever reason, now the officer will know, the visa officer will know that you can be of benefit. You'll be beneficial to the country. And so you must understand today that the reasons why the American visas are tough is because the average visa officer looks at you, the the prospective visitor, as a potential immigrant. There is no difference between you and that man asking for maybe a work permit or something like that. And so with that in mind, that means you need to approach the embassy or consulate within your country, knowing fully well that they look at you as a potential immigrant, in which case you have to get all your documents correct. You don't have to falsify anything. And of course, be sure that when you travel to the US, you can move from that visa category, the visiting visa category, to a more permanent one. And so in my next video, that is the part 4, I would wish to take on the fallacies. There are certain fallacies within the immigration system as it regards the US. There are certain fallacies that keep flying around. And then I will also start to deal with the different categories in a more elaborate form. And so I will want you, if you see this video, please share, like, and comment. You can follow me on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Okay? So I want to thank you for your attention, and I want you to please share and comment. And you can also send me a DM if you have any particular interest. If you have any particular questions you need to ask, feel free to reach out. Until I come your way again, thank you so much for watching this video. Please share, please comment, please follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, and follow me on YouTube. I remain your friend. Thank you very much. My name remains Paul. Bye.